We'll have to wait until the 19th of August at 10 in the evening for the next interesting transit of the moon when it reaches Jupiter, in harmony with Vesta and the black moon. So that means that the light that you may have been able to shed on that light, on a dark moon, black moon, dark zone, will be a source of great satisfaction and also restoration of your own well-being and your inner harmony. Very interesting. But Mars is in discordance with this conjunction. Venus is not very far. Venus is going to be reached on the following day, on the 20th of August. So Venus is going to be slightly triggered on the 19th of August, about 10 in the evening. And Venus is love, Venus is creativity, Venus is all the good things that life can provide are represented by Venus. So when it is not far from Jupiter, especially when it is in Cancer, because Cancer is the sign represented by the moon, so when the moon transits in Cancer, it is much stronger. The energy is much stronger. But Mars could trigger a tendency to react too quickly. So try and hold on your horses, as they say, so that you don't move too fast. Because that, if you do, you could risk to make a mistake. And that may trigger some sort of incident or conflict. Because you will be more vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable. You may not be sufficiently objective, and that may temper your potential to obtain that result from the trine involving Vesta and the black moon. You shed light on the dark zone. You understand it, you accept it, you share it perhaps as well with other people, but at least you understand it and you accept it. That's very important, because that will allow you to restore or preserve inner harmony and well-being. And that will be enhanced by Jupiter. And that means that Jupiter represents a reward for what you are going to accept to do. And it will be an effort, of course. It will require an effort from yourself. It is a real challenge, but don't do anything too hastily. Mars could trigger the need to speed up, thinking that the quicker you get there, the better. May not be. So take it easy, lift your foot from the accelerator, and rely also on the brakes in your existential vehicle. That will allow you to bring it, and your existential vehicle is no other than your life. So wherever you want to go, you need the acceleration, you need the brakes, and you need to learn how to use both simultaneously, or one after the other, in accordance with what your life path requires. If you do that, you will be rewarded for sure, even if it takes until the moon reaches Vesta, which will be about 12 days later. Anyway, after that, the moon is going to reach Venus. On the 20th of August, at 12 midday, the moon reaches Venus. and of course recreates the trine I talked about when I analyzed the preceding transit of the moon reaching the position of Jupiter. Very positive. Venus is love, Venus is creativity, but it is here in opposition with Pluto, which is a false aspect once again. For the opposition to be true, Venus would need to be in Leo, which is not the case. So you should not rely too much on that energy of Pluto, meaning that because Pluto represents our ability to regenerate, you may feel stronger than you really are. And if there is something a little wrong in your love life, or health-wise as well, you may feel that you're strong enough to deal with it. But you could find out that what is going on is more than you can handle. And then, therefore, you'd be sort of disappointed with yourself, and of course also disappointed with the other person if another person is involved. And there is a false trine with Saturn, which of course is not a trine. And if it's not a trine, it is a square. And the square is a discordance. So that means also that if there is a problem to deal with in your love life, for example, don't rely too much on the fact that you represent for the other person some sort of security and some sort of ideal situation, because you may find that you're wrong. So try and be vigilant and very rational. Don't think for the other person as well, and don't decide for the other person. Chiron is in discordance, and this is a true aspect, it's not a hidden one. And because it is a true aspect, it puts the emphasis on health. But it may not be health as such once again. And if there is something that you need to deal with love-wise, then Chiron is there to show that there is a potential illness in your love life. Or your creativity, the way you handle your artistic life, for example, could also be represented by this type of conjunction, Venus-Jupiter. But if there is something that needs to be treated, because the manner in which you deal with your situation is not right, so you feel slightly disconnected from reality somehow, and you perhaps believe too much and put too much emphasis on other people that may be able to help you, so you could rely too much on others, not enough on yourself, or not enough on others and too much on yourself. In any case, this conjunction, Venus-Jupiter, and with the moon on that day, 20th of August, around midday, indicates a tendency to exaggerate. So exaggeration is going to create a problem. If you can handle that, and if you focus on Vesta, which is in harmony with Venus and Jupiter, then you preserve harmony. That's all there is to it. And you understand what that dark zone is. It could be inside of you. It could be anywhere around. But the challenge is to understand what it is, and once you've accepted it, to deal with it. Because after that, the moon is going to reach Mercury. And that's the planet that represents your intellect, which will be needed to deal with whatever happens during that time when the moon is in Leo, which will be the following day. Let's have a look at the chart.